So we're going to focus on lower limb and core today for the exercise class. So we're going to be looking at doing some cardio first. So we're going to look at some marching, boxing, and some burpees as well. Okay, so just make sure you've got some fluids with you. You're going to need a pillow or a cushion for the main part of the lower limb exercises, and then some weights for your core exercises later on. Okay, so I'm going to do it seated, Ellie's going to do it standing for the cardio, just to give you a different perspective on the different types of style you can do it with. So right, let's get into it. Yeah. So we're just going to go into some marching first, guys.
Just start at nice gentle pace.
And then we're going to go into some boxing. So let's get them arms moving. Almost feel like you're getting a little bit of rotation through trunk as well. Nice rhythm to start. Good, and then we're going to go into some burpees. So we're going to take arms as high as we can and then as low as we can. So trying to go as low as you can. If we can touch your knees, your feet, the floor, whatever feels comfortable for you. Again, a little bit slower on these ones, just looking at that movement all the way through. Good, and then we're going to go back into a march. So just going to repeat this normal. So we're going to do 3 times, 3 sets basically. As a nice warm up, just to get that blood flowing. Good, and then we're going to go back into our boxing. So let's try and get them arms nice and straight. Starting to slightly pick the pace up now as well. Good, and back into our burpees. Nice and high, nice and low. And then we've got one more set to do after this. Okay, and back into our march. Should all feel nice and warm by now. Make sure to take your time if you need all the way through the session. Don't feel like you've got to rush it. And back into our boxing. Good, guys, keep going, making sure we're getting that nice movement through your arms. Try and get them arms as straight as we can. And last little bit, we're going to go into our burpees. Nice and low, nice and high. Another 5 seconds, keep going. 3, 2, 1, and we can rest. Good. Make sure you've got some fluids with you. Have a breather for a second, whilst we're going to talk about what we're going to do for our exercises for lower limb. Okay. So make sure you've got a pillow with you, a cushion, or if you have, you can use the Pilates ball, which Ellie is going to show. So we're going to do our squeezes with our knees first. So we're going to pop the pillow in between your knees. So we're going to squish your knees together, basically. You're trying to touch them. So if you feel like you haven't got enough resistance, you can fold the pillow in half as well. But we're going to try and hold. So you're pushing about 60-70% of what you feel like is your maximum effort at first. So we're going to hold for about 3 seconds to start with, and then just relax off. Okay, couple seconds break, and then we're going to go back into it. So make sure that you feel like your groin, your sort of inner thigh is working. If you feel like you're sort of not achieving anything, I don't mind you using hands on the outside of your knees just to give you a little bit more movement. But I don't want any cheating from anyone. Thank you. So really make sure we're trying to drive them knees together into the pillow, and then relax off once we've held for 3 seconds. Okay, let's do one more big squeeze, and we can relax. Nice, good. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to do is make sure the pillow is behind your feet. So we're going to do some leg extensions. So we're kicking your leg nice and straight, and then we're going to bring that leg backwards behind you. So we're kicking into that pillow. So you'll feel your hamstrings, your back of your thighs switching on. And then once we've held that for a couple seconds, we're going to bring the leg all the way up, trying to get your quadriceps, so your front of your thigh, to switch on as you kick up, and then pull back down into the pillow. Okay, so we're going to repeat these. We'll do it about 10 times. So make sure we're just doing this single leg at the moment. So holding both for about 2 to 3 seconds each way. Again, when you're trying to straighten your knee, you're just going to go as far and as high as you feel comfortable, or with what sort of your limitations are. So just go within your range, guys. Good. Let's do one more each way. So driving that leg up, and then slowly back, kicking into the pillow. Good. Let's swap legs, change over. So same again. You might even find it a stretch on the way forward, just because your hamstrings might be a little bit tight as well. But it's nice and controlled. We're not rushing through. Making sure you're breathing as well. Couple more, and then let's do one more each way, straightening that knee and then bringing it all the way down, kicking that heel into the pillow. Good. And we can relax. Good. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to focus on is some calf raises and toe lifts. So if you're standing, make sure, if you feel like you're unsteady on the feet, that you've got something just to support yourself with. But we're coming up onto tiptoes, so you get that nice feet sort of, you feel like your calves are switching on, so the back of your legs. And then we're slowly lowering down, and then we're lifting toes up off the floor when we come down, just as high as you can, and then repeating that. Okay. So don't mind you using a little bit of momentum, especially if you stood. As you come back down onto heels, you can sort of slightly take your weight back onto your heels and try and lift them toes up. But nice and controlled all the way through. Again, just go with your range. But don't worry if you're struggling to lift your feet off the floor. Just do what you can. Making sure that when we come up onto tiptoes, we're giving calves a nice squeeze. And let's do one more each way. So up onto tiptoes, down, and then trying to lift toes off the floor. Good, and we can rest. So there's first set done. We're gonna do it twice more, okay? So take as much time as you need in between. If you feel like you need to pause the video for a few seconds, that's absolutely fine. We're just going to run through it. Okay, same again. So we're going to squeeze these knees together. Making sure we're holding for about 3 seconds and then just relaxing off and going back into it. Making sure we're breathing all the way through. Try not to hold your breath. Keep going. We're going to do one more. It's a big squeeze with knees, trying to touch them together. And then we can relax off. Good. Okay, so back into our leg extensions and curls. So we're kicking up nice and high, and then heel to bum basically. So you're kicking into that pillow and extending that knee all the way up, controlling it all the way back down, and just repeat that. So again, we're looking at about 10 to 15 reps if we can. Let's do 2 more each way. Last one, driving that knee straight. Controlling it back down, kicking into the pillow. Good. Change sides, swap over. Keep going, guys. Doing well. Make sure we're trying to switch quads on when we're straightening that knee, and then hamstrings when we're kicking that heel into the pillow. Do one more each way, all the way up, and then back down. Good. Okay, moving on to our calf raises and toe lifts. So really nice and controlled, up onto tiptoes, and then slowly back down. And rocking back onto heels, trying to lift your toes up off the floor. Again, just go within your limits. Don't worry if you can't come all the way up either way. Make sure we get that big squeeze of calves when we're coming onto tiptoes. Good, guys, keep going. We'll do 2 more each way. So up onto tiptoes, nice and controlled on the way down. and then once more. Good, and relax. Okay, we've got one more set to do, and then we're going to move on to some core exercises. Okay, right. So we're going to pop the pillow cushion in between your knees again. Let's give it a big squeeze. See if we can try and push a little bit harder now. So we're looking sort of 80 to 100%, and then we're relaxing off. Again, holding for about 3 to 5 seconds. And then just repeat, okay? Keep going, guys. Let's do a couple more. And last one, big squeeze. And we can relax. Good. Okay, same again. So single leg. We're going to extend that knee. And push our heel back into the chair. Do one more each way. Up, good, and then heel to bum. Good, and swap sides, change over. Making sure it's nice and controlled all the way through. And then we're going to straighten knee out, and last bit, we're going to kick your bum, and then we can relax. Good. Okay, last lower limb exercise, we're going to go same again, calf raises. So come on up onto tiptoes, control them down, and then lifting feet, toes off the floor. Good, guys, keep going. So really try and push up onto tiptoes, and then rock backwards and lift them toes up off the floor. Good. Let's do one more each way. So we're coming up onto feet and then rocking backwards, lifting toes up. Good, and we can relax there. Okay, so we're going to move on to our core stuff now. So if you make sure you grab your weights, your tins, whatever you fancy to use. Again, you can pause the video and take a little bit of a breather, get some fluids in, and that's absolutely fine. So the 3 exercises we're going to focus on are our crunches, our twists, and our tilts. The ones that we normally focus on in the class as well. Okay, so make sure your bums shuffle forwards on the chair. So we're going to start with our crunches first. So we're leaning backwards as far as you'll feel comfortable, making sure that you're not trying to touch the back of the chair. So we're really trying to pull forwards first with your stomach, rather than sort of your neck coming forwards or your shoulders. So really trying hard to engage your core and switch it on. Good. So nice and controlled. Just do this in your own time. And as we go through the sets, your core should feel nice and warm by the end. Okay, so again, we're looking at about 10 to 15 reps of each, okay? Good, and then we're gonna go into our twists. So up and over, trying to touch each hip basically. So again, we can slightly lean back to make it a little bit more difficult. That's why it helps when you shuffle your bum forwards in your chair. And then we're going to go into our tilts. So weight in one hand, leaning down towards the floor, and then pulling ourselves back up. So you should feel a nice stretch on the opposite side. So make sure the weight is in the hand that's leaning towards the floor. Make sure you don't have a weight in the other hand, otherwise you'll be cheating. So we're really trying to reach as far down as you feel comfortable. Then use the other side to pull back up. Good, and let's swap sides, change over. Good, so make sure we're breathing. We're not trying to hold your breath. Good, and then we're going to go back into our crunches. So same again for the next 2 sets, same 3 exercises. We're looking for that about 10 to 15 reps if we can. So again, really nice and controlled all the way through. Engaging your tummy muscles. Good, and then we're going to go back into our twists. So up and over. These can be a little bit faster than the others, but we're making sure that you're looking each side as well. You're getting that rotation through trunk. Good, and then we can go into our tilts. Let's see if we can try and get towards the floor. Just make sure you don't touch the floor, as that will be cheating also. So we want to go as close as we can without touching, because you can just push yourself back up then. Or the other way to progress this is just adding a heavier weight as well if you can hold it. And let's swap, change over. Same again. Trying to reach towards the floor, using the opposite side to pull yourself back up with, okay? So you think if you've dropped anything on the floor, it's a nice way of practicing picking it back up off the floor, using your core muscles to stabilise you. Good, and then last set, we're going to go back into the same again. So crunches to start with, making sure your feet stay planted all the way through. See if you can lean a little bit further back now, challenge yourselves. Core should feel nice and warm. Good, and then we're going to go into our twists. Up and over, making sure that the shoulders are moving as well. We're looking over each shoulder as we twist. Again, leaning back if you want to make it a little bit more difficult for yourselves. Good, and then we're going to go last bit into our tilts again. So nice and controlled, leaning down to one side with the weight in your hand. sure we feel that nice stretch on the side that you're pulling back up with. Good, stop over. Let's do 3 more. And last one. Good. Well done, guys. That's the session done. Hope you enjoyed as much as we did. And we'll see you in the next one.